The MOS of 89 Delta in the United States Army is an Explosive Ordnance Disposal Specialist, otherwise known as EOD. Now, the primary job duties of that 89 Delta in the United States Army is going to include research, identify, and if necessary, dispose of hazardous ordnance, as well as operate robotics equipment and much more. This MOS is available for enlisted soldiers looking to go active duty National Guard, but it is not available for those looking to go into the reserves. Now, the qualifications for an individual looking to get into this line of work will require an individual to have a high school diploma or a GED, as well as take the ASVAB and get a qualifying AFQT score to qualify for the United States Army. Now, as far as the specific score that the Army is going to look for on the ASVAB, getting a little bit of conflicting information. Some sources are saying a 110 in the skilled technical section, but the actual Army website is saying a 105 in the general maintenance section. So you might want to consult an Army recruiter to find out the specifics, but it's always best just to try to score as high as you possibly can anyways. Now, as far as the training for this MOS, it does have the normal 10 weeks of basic training. And from there, an individual would move on to roughly around 36 weeks of AIT, which is broken into 2 phases. Now, that first phase is roughly around 7 weeks, and that is located at Fort Lee, Virginia. But the bulk of the AIT is roughly about 28 weeks long, and that is located at Eglin Air Force Base in Florida. Now, one of the key things that an individual will have to do in those first 7 weeks is they're going to have to take the bomb suit suitability test. This test basically just evaluates that a soldier will be able to perform while wearing this really heavy bomb suit, be able to perform the functions they would need to do before they can move on to the rest of the training for this MOS. Now, also note this MOS does require a security clearance, so an individual will have to pass that background check to obtain that security clearance. Now, as far as my experience with individuals in this MOS, I've worked with a few like when I was deployed to Iraq. These individuals will be working with like the engineers to do like route clearance, and if they came across IEDs, then they bring the buffaloes up to maybe take care of them, maybe dispose of them, to detonate them on site, whatever the situation might call for. But these are also the individuals that if, on a convoy or on a patrol, individuals found like an IED or some kind of unexploded ordnance somewheres, these are the individuals that come up to handle it in whatever manner they need to take care of it, whether it's to detonate it on site, to defuse it, whatever it might be. Now, as far as when you're not deployed, it's probably a lot of work in the motor pool, working with vehicles that you have, working with equipment you have, and a lot of training. Now, as far as jobs outside of the Army, well, you could look to something like maybe law enforcement, maybe trying to get on the bomb squad, other government agencies and private agencies that work with explosives. You might even have something with maybe like construction or other type of operations where they need to use explosives and operate with explosives to either detonate something, to demolish something, something along those lines. And maybe even a little bit of experience with those robotics and everything. So, there's some different, avenues that someone could, take this information from the Army and transfer over to the civilian world, or simply just using their education benefits to change it up completely. Alright, so there you go. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If I got any 89 Deltas currently or previously in the Army, leave some comments down below. What did you think about this MOS? Check out recommended videos, links down in the description, Patreon, PO Box, all sorts of fun stuff. I'm ChristopherChaos. I'll see you next time. See ya.